Hey, what's up, guys? It is Rapmark here. So, doing my little bit delayed Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer. So, here's the non-spoiler review. So, wow, this movie was impressive. Uh, one thing I will say is it was very long. This movie was like at 2 hours and 40 minutes. So yeah, 161 minutes. This was very long, and it had a lot of things to tell. You know, just so many plots, and I think because of that, it was a bit messier, especially in the second act than say the first one. So I will say I do think the first Black Panther was better than this one, but nonetheless, I don't think this was a bad movie at all. I just think it was a little bit messy, and it was very long. Um, one thing I will say for it is the acting. All the performances um, were very spot on. They were amazing. Uh, like I can tell you right now that pretty much of the main characters. So we got Shuri, we've got Nakia, and Okoye. Like, man, they were amazing. Uh, they were just acting their asses out. I loved M'Baku. Like, for as small of a role as he had, he he really like stepped up his game for that. So I will say that. Uh, the so a lot of the CGI effects I think were pretty good on this. Um, I mean, the exceptions would be probably the actual city itself, which is what is that city called? It is Talocan, which I don't think it was spelled that way in the movie, the way it's spelled in Wiki, but we'll go with it. So it seemed a little dark, unfortunately, which I do get it. Like, you're underwater, all that. But I don't know. Like, a lot of it seemed a little dark. I did like the whole aspect of, because the people of Talocan, because I mean, I know it's Atlantis in the comics, but I mean, you have rights with DC and all that, so whatever on that. But anyway, so Talocan, uh, like I like how their people when they're underwater, it shows their sort of how they would their normal skin color, whereas they're out of water because they can't actually breathe on land anymore. Um, they come out as blue. I did enjoy that. I thought it was really cool, because again, their skin is starved of oxygen, but they're able to breathe because they have seawater like masks. It it's a little kind of crazy. There, so without getting into it too much, I will say there were some plot points and threads that I felt a little bit tacked on, like the whole Ruri, who is Ironheart in this. She gets introduced and she feels literally like a plot device instead of an actual character. Um, there's very little mention of Tony Stark, even though like her whole thing is to build this Tony Stark. Like in the comics, she built it literally based on Tony Stark, and then she goes to Tony Stark asking for an AI, and well, he initially refuses. when he's in a coma, he's dead now, so I'm sure they're going to change it. He creates essentially an AI version of him, which he puts into the suit. So how that's going to play out, who knows? But I mean, this thing was very Wakanda centric, and it's supposed to be. It's a Black Panther film, and let alone the what they're actually dealing with. That they dealt with the fact that they're not recasting. My gosh, Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. So honestly, I think they did a very good job in being respectful and showing you know like essentially treating his death and like him not coming back in really respectfully, even having sort of a an explanation as to that. Um, yeah, it was super good. Um, and like I said, the backdrops were super good. The CGI again, with the exception of a lot of the water scenes, it was pretty good. It was just a little too dark in the Telecon scenes, but I liked the changing of the history of the origin of Namor. I liked that they put that he's well, we'll get into that in a minute. I'm trying to avoid things. But yeah, but no, the Ironheart thing felt very tacked on. I'm sorry, I'm getting into tangents. Anyway, another thing that seemed tacked on was the Valentina Allegra de Fontaine uh, and Everett Ross. It's like there is some plot holes in this story that you kind of have to like not think about. um, and this goes into the broader thing of Rory. It's just like I don't know. We'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, there's some really big plot holes which kind of drive me a little nuts. There's things that happen in this that are you don't expect, which I like, but at the same time, it's actually no. I just like. I'm thinking of something else when I was going on that tangent. Anyway, what else can be said? Like, I like the music, the whole, you know, like, and I said this with Black Panther too. The whole like sort of tribal African type music mixed with contemporary music, and just the technology, the people. It's a very well realized sort of like world, and I really enjoyed it. Even though I think once again, like the first act, it's kind of slow going, and it is kind of a slow burn because again you're dealing with so many things, and then the second act, stuff is happening, but it's just so messy because you're going from so many plot points to another, and it deals with the main plot points for sure a lot better than some of the side plot points. Like, again, I don't think Ironheart's plot points really went into a satisfying way, but I mean, I guess they're just trying to introduce the character, but and more is going to be told about her in her series, which is coming up on Disney Plus. So that'll be coming out next year. And then the whole Everett Ross, it I don't know. I will say I didn't quite know what to think. I don't think I hated them, but I'm not sure if I like them. The new the new sort of suit for Okoye and her her second Io. So they become so they have two suits, and I don't know. If they were going for cool, it kind of missed the mark for me. It seemed a little tacky, but I mean, we'll see where that goes. We'll see where that goes. Um, I like the whole plot point with like the heart shaped herb, and that they're out of it, and they essentially have to go more, which I'll go more into in spoilers. But yeah, so ultimately, I did really enjoy this film. My biggest problems being it seemed a little long, and there were a couple plot points that just seemed really tacked on, and I'm just like, I don't know what to think about this. So yeah, that's my thing. So what would I score this? You know what? I'm going to give this an 8. This was solid. I think I gave the first one a 9. This one was still pretty good for the fact that it did feel a little long. Again, the Ironheart thing just seemed tacked on as well as the Everett hit Ross stuff. All that stuff just seemed tacked on. But for the most part, everyone acted their ass off. Everything looked pretty good. Um, Again, there were a few few potholes, which I will get into. Um, and oh my gosh, like one thing I'll say, this goes kind of there is an underwater scene, and the whole like these sea people, the if you like Greek mythology and you've heard of the sirens, man, it is a great sort of like almost horror like elementy type section of the film, and yeah, it did great. So yeah, I think that's all I can really say without breaking into huge spoilers here. So once again, I'm trying to be a little bit more focused on this aspect of the read with not spoiling. Maybe a couple minor stuff here and there, but that's just to like try to get big points across. But yeah, I'm trying to be a little more concise, and then I will stick with the big spoilers here in a minute. So I will see you then. See ya.